Dang, Christmas is in a week, and all I gotta say is, real or fake Christmas trees?
I'm not going to Christmas, but also
You're not doing what?
I'm going to Christmas.
Oh, okay.
But give me real. I like real.
I like fake.
You're fake.
Yeah, I think you just say that. I mean, fake is nice because, again, I understand why real with you, because you only start celebrating Christmas on the 21st.
Yeah.
Which isn't even today yet. We're the 18th.
Yeah.
But I like the fake one so I can go multiple months before and after Christmas.
Multiple months.
It takes, I mean, I get it up in like early November
Oh
and
my
then
goodness.
don't take it down until April.
No. So from December 23rd through December 26th is Christmas tree season.
Oh, okay. And then you just burn it.
Yeah, then you burn it in the backyard. That's literally how it works.
Yeah, they get mad if you do that with your plastic trees. I mean, who cares? Who cares? But yeah, we have a good episode in for you today. This is episode 51 of the pod, and yeah, Christmas
One
is
more
Christmas.
for 4 years.
Christmas is in a week.
Merry Chrysler.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. But yeah, episode 51 coming at you. Dane, we're back with episode 51.
I finished chemo, and I'm proud.
Okay, you go first. You go first.
So, chemo, last round, fourth round, happened this past week-ish, and it was not fun once more.
I mean, yeah, understandable.
Yeah, all my nurses, super fun, super talkative and stuff. My grandma came and visited me, and she brought me food and stuff, because that's kind of the requirement for people whenever
Obviously.
they come and visit me. Cause like the hospital food sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I think I mentioned this before, but a dietitian told me that they have to make it very bland because there's so many people in the hospital that like have restrictive diets. And so like there's literally no butter in the mashed potatoes. And I'm like, that's lame, and I don't want them now.
I just really quick, I want that to be like a new phrase. There's no butter in the mashed potatoes. I don't know what it'll be used for, but
just for like an inconvenience.
There's no butter in the mashed potatoes.
Gosh,
man,
just no butter in the mashed potatoes anymore. But yeah, things like that. And so I make people who are visiting me, they're like, okay, come visit you. I'm like, well, yeah, of course, but you have to bring me something to eat.
Yeah.
And
that's why I haven't visited you, because I was like, I don't really.
Well,
it requires bringing you food, and I'm like, I see you enough recording. Like,
well, it's also not the most fun thing ever.
That too.
Literally, we sit there. I can't go do anything. We can't go do anything. We sit there and talk for like an hour and a half.
Which is what we do on the podcast anyway.
That's
and I'm
true.
like, that just gets rid of more content we have. We can't do that. Like that's a disservice to us both.
Well, imagine trying to record all of this there.
Your nurses come in like, get out.
Yeah,
get out. We're recording.
Well, my machine would start beeping, and that'd be awful. But either way, I'm done now, so that's really fun, really exciting. But they won't do a scan for another month. They said because they want to let the chemo work. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's lame. So what do I want to do for a month? It's like, I don't know. And I'm like, do I go back to work?
You could get set up with somebody.
Hey, ooh. Dang it. So there's that's the other kind of like not really an update, but it is kind of an update.
Yeah.
I have not been set up with anybody, but we have a good friend of the podcast who her name is Mia.
Shout out.
She started this thing via her Instagram called Wife Her Up Wednesdays. And I'm like, hey, that's a cool idea. Because like for her, no risk. For her friends, like, minimal.
Hopefully no risk.
Yeah,
hopefully she doesn't have too many people following her on Insta that are sketchy.
Well, I'm just like, it's like, for her friends, like minimal risk, like, hey, you might find a boyfriend and a husband out of this. If nothing else, it's like
boyfriend and
whatever.
a husband, or
yes, both.
I was like, two separate people. Yeah, you
Two
get a boyfriend
separate
and a husband. Shout out.
Two for one package. If one's being really annoying,
yeah, you just go to the other one.
You just go to the other one. They're both being annoying, whatever.
Yeah.
No, but so she started that, and I was like, hey, you should set me up after cancer. Because I'm just like, well, how do I sit down with a gal and be like, hey, so number one, I have cancer.
Yeah.
And like, so number two, it's like, hey, I don't have any hair right now. However,
picture me as Fabio. That is what I was in my prime.
Picture me with fiery red hair, not like Ed Sheeran, and I also cannot sing like Ed Sheeran, but
you sing better.
I sing better, yeah.
Yeah. So that's me basically.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Don't listen whenever I sing and things like that.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm just like, I don't know. It's a cool idea to think about, but at the same time, it's like, I can't really do anything with this right now.
Well, but you could. Because if they somehow said no, it'd be like, wow, I have cancer and you don't what?
You don't what?
I'm going to blast you on the podcast.
We have several millions of listeners.
Yeah, millions. We're one of the biggest podcasts. We just
billions, dare I say.
Yeah, it is everyone. We have people across the world. No new countries this week, but we have people across the globe
Everyone
listening.
Who's capable of listening is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So that's kind of my like semi update for that one, minus the chemo part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I don't know. We'll see. We're just vibing right now. Like,
yeah.
See what happens. And, you know, lots of bowl games going on right now.
Getting ice on your windshield lately?
Oh, that's another good thing. Is my one of my friends suggested in our small group this week. Her name is Jasmine Crawford. Shout out to her. She said that there should be an invention, and you can tell me if this is dumb or not. But she thinks there should be a blade on your windshield wipers that also like scrape your windshield. And it's like, I see it as somewhat of a good idea, but at the same time, I see it as like, how does this not tear up your windshield?
I feel like that would have to be something if it has to be like only on older vehicles. So you can't be coming in like newer vehicles as like a standard thing because that would destroy it. It's the same thing with like going through a car wash with nicer cars, you shouldn't do it because there's like so much debris like on like the whatever goes over your car that like scrapes it all up. Yeah. But if you have an older car, let's say like mine, that's like a 2003 Yukon, like who cares? Who cares at that point? So you install them yourself and then it maybe works. But yeah, I wouldn't want that on a Tesla.
Well, yeah. Well, her whole argument was she has wait, what about Tesla?
I had a random idea. It's like you have that on there, but that could be sketchy. You have that going really fast, and a bird hits your windshield. It just slices it in half.
I don't know how that would happen.
I don't know either, but that was my intrusive thought.
Well,
so
what if it's like a plastic kind of blade? You know, kind of like a scraper itself.
I don't think oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's like
scrapers
a little less graphic.
Scrapers aren't blades.
I was thinking back to your Die Hard picks last week, and just like how violent, like Violent Night and everything from our movie selections draft. Hey, if you haven't listened to episode 50, do it right after you finish this one. Yeah. But yeah. You're going plastic?
Well, it has to be plastic because you think about it. You don't take a machete to the car.
I mean, but you don't have these on normal cars either, so you could develop it however you want.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
And so patent pending. But at the same time, her whole argument was she has new windshield wiper blades that she's going to put on her car.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, I like to just turn on the windshield wipers to scrape my car instead of actually scraping my car. And I'm like, I mean,
that's really bad for the windshield wipers.
Yeah,
but I do it anyway. Also,
well, that's why she's not doing it is because they're already like are bad windshield wipers.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to put these new ones on there because she like can't do that anymore and would have to get new ones again.
There's a nice in between where you gotta really scrape off a lot of it beforehand, but then once the heat starts going, then you kind of encourage it with the windshield wipers.
The only time I do with the windshield wipers is like whenever it's under 30 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not standing out here for this. And it sucks.
I was going to say for me, so like a few weeks ago, like the heat in my car just straight up did not work. Yeah. Honestly, for a long, like all last winter, I don't think it worked. It might not have worked the winter before. So I would just have to layer up and just hope that eventually the ice would melt. But I finally got that fixed. So now it goes a lot quicker. So I can actually use the windshield wipers to encourage the ice to come off once I scrape off some originally, because that's what sane people do.
Who needs that?
Yeah, but it's always an interesting process and something you never want to do in the morning, especially if you're running late for work or whatever.
Yeah,
or recording podcasts. You don't want to scrape off the ice.
Well, and one of my other friends, also in my small group named Savannah, she used a Frisbee for the longest time because she's from Mississippi.
She used a Frisbee?
Yeah. So she didn't believe me or us as a group. There would be like
ice on your windshield.
Yeah, decent amounts of ice that you need a scraper for, like to get this off of here. And then she goes, "Well, I just used a Frisbee," and I was like, "Yeah, for November ice."
Yeah.
Like,
would you get the half-inch ice or whatever? Like the Frisbee's not doing anything.
Late December and January ice, that's a whole different. And then she said she went to DC for some concert, and she's like, "Oh, I had to use it there," and I was like, "Yeah, like you think we were just making this up and people were just buying these for no reason?" Yeah. No.
Yeah. But hey, she's learning now.
Yeah.
So shout out to her, because I'm sure she's a big listener, and she better listen right now because we called her out.
That's true.
So you are now leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc.
Jasmine, you do the same.
Yeah, please. We need those.
Yeah.
We need those. We're still trying to get to 50 5-star reviews on Spotify.
Ooh.
We're at 40. Last I checked, and then on Apple it's less. It's like 22, but you can have, which is weird because we have more Apple listeners. So what are you doing?
Wait, we have Apple listeners mostly?
I think when I look at the breakdown, like more people listen on Apple Podcast, I think, or maybe it's just Apple devices. I need to check that.
Okay.
But I think it's harder to leave reviews on Apple compared to Spotify.
It's because I slandered all of the Android people away.
Oh, well, I'm still here. If I wasn't here, we would just not be here.
That's true.
So that's always fun, but not really. Updates for me for the week. I have been off work, which has been awesome.
No, you haven't.
That's one of the awesome parts about my job. I have more flexibility and taking off time, especially before the holidays. So I've finally been able to fully embrace the Christmas season, because I mentioned on last week's episode that was something I've been kind of struggling with everything going by so fast. So I've been able to have everything slow down a little bit.
No, it didn't.
Not a ton, but a little bit. And I've been working on finishing up Christmas shopping, and also recording several episodes of the podcast with you, just so we have some, in case of emergency, like for some reason if we can't record.
Like if I got cancer or something.
Yeah, that would have been a great idea to have some in the backup, so I don't have to just be like on an episode by myself, all sad, because that would be horrible. Don't listen to episode 38.
Yeah, or if hypothetically, like the next 2 episodes landed on Christmas Day and then New Year's Day.
But we don't though record on the day.
Yeah.
We record before.
Yeah, but like, do you start celebrating Christmas the day of Christmas, or like a couple days before Christmas?
That's
but also,
valid.
You don't have to travel, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Huh?
You for Christmas?
Me?
Yeah, to relatives.
No, I stay here.
But I do.
Oh, you have to travel?
Yeah.
That makes more sense why you maybe hypothetically want to record some more episodes, because I'm here.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, for you it's like whatever, but for me, I'm like, I'm trying to go up like the 22nd or so.
That makes more sense.
And
so
do that.
We'll just pretend like we're talking in the week of for some of these episodes, and you won't know the difference. So we shouldn't even set it. But that was my update for the week. But another update is not really an update. It's just, what grinds your gears, Dane?
Oh. So last week, I went to a wedding.
Oh, shout out.
Last week. And longtime friends, well, one of them was a longtime friend.
Mm-hmm. And then they got married. It's like, no, you're not a friend anymore.
Yeah, you're not a friend anymore. Jake Trust and Art.
Oh, shout out Jake, one of the sponsors.
No, I love Jake, but he kicked me out of his house because he got married. Selfish. But also, so one of my longtime friends, and then I became friends with her now husband.
Yeah.
Got married and stuff, and it's a winter wedding, obviously, and I wanted to wear a turtleneck and then like a blazer over the turtleneck.
Yeah, that's sophisticated right there.
Yeah, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good look, because I remember one of my friends doing that years ago, and I was like, oh, I really want that.
Yeah.
And plus, I don't have a turtleneck. So I went to like 4 or 5 different stores looking for turtlenecks. Couldn't find one. And then finally was at...
You're in the middle of the park, and you saw something crawling across the road, and you're like, what is that? That's a turtle's neck!
No.
That's
not awful.
Sorry. I'm going to take that for myself.
Take it.
You can go still. I'm sorry. Intrusive thoughts.
Dig it. No, so I went to like 4 or 5 stores. They didn't have any. Old Navy didn't have one.
Did you go to Walmart?
Didn't have one. No, I did not go to Walmart.
I bet you they have them.
Well, they
for
might.
like $12.
What? Well, I hope they're horrible turtlenecks.
They probably are.
Yeah, but I don't know. And so then I finally was at like Dillard's.
Yeah, shout out.
And they had one there, but they were like, yeah, you can have this turtleneck in a color that you don't want. And I also wanted it to be cable knit. Yeah.
I thought it had a connect to cable.
No, the lights on it. No.
Put on the Cowboys game for you.
Ooh, that'd be awesome. But no, I wanted it to be like cable knit sweater, turtleneck, kind of in a like beigeish white color.
Yeah.
And they only had like gray ones and black ones. And I was like, I don't really want that. And they were like, but also you got to pay like upwards of $80 for
That's
this.
stupid.
And I was like, I'm not doing that. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll just order one online. And then I looked it up and it was like, nope, won't be here till Monday, aka after the wedding. And I'm just like, well, then I don't need one. And so I ended up wearing something else.
I'm going to cue a song right now. So we just listened to that. It was thrift shopping. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
To get the cheap turtleneck.
Yeah,
you actually low-key, like, go to Goodwill. See if you can find something.
Well, it's too late now.
Well, okay, sorry. I kind of forgot about that. I was too busy thinking, like, hey, thrift shopping, and I kind of forgot the other details of your story.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But if you need one in the future,
yeah,
just go thrift shopping.
Well, yeah, I honestly, I just need one in the wardrobe just in case.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one of the things that you would not wear very much. So who cares if it's partially used?
It's kind of like Christmas sweaters just in general. You wear them like literally once a year, twice a year.
Yeah.
And then you put them back in the closet. That's why I only got 2.
I literally have like 4 Christmas sweaters, which means I wear 1 or 2 different ones a year, and the other ones to sit around. And then maybe the next year I might wear 1 or 2 of the other ones.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of opportunities to wear them. I know we had a K-Life Christmas party, which you didn't get to go to, which was sad.
R.I.P.
And I wore a Christmas sweater to that. And then I know I had like 1 or 2 other times this Christmas season where I either wore them or am going to wear them. But yeah, it's something that is just so incredibly seasonal that it's hard to pay a lot of money for something that you wear once or twice.
It's kind of, so the 2 I have, one of them is a picture of John McClane.
John McCain again.
No,
You're
John McClane
guy.
And it's him crawling through the air ducts of Nakatomi Plaza.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
You wore that last year, I think, at the K-Life Christmas party.
Yeah, and it says Yippee-ki-yay on it.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Mother effer. It doesn't say mother effer on it, but
it says the real thing. It's not bleeped out like our podcast is.
And the other one I bought recently, or this year I should say, and it's a picture of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
We talked about that briefly. Yeah, that's a clean one.
And it says, I saw mother kissing Travis Claus or something.
We need to get Christmas sweaters on and try to post a picture on our Instagram. That would be clean.
Instagram straight flexing.
I'll make a note about it.
Yeah, listen to our podcast. But yeah, definitely. So that's what kind of grinds my gears is the price of turtlenecks, which there's literally just one extra part of this, and I don't really want it. It annoys my neck, but it looks sophisticated.
Yeah, and who cares how it feels if you look good?
Who cares?
Mine's a little not as exciting, but it took me, again, we're episode 51, and this took me almost a year to figure out. So, like, again, we're still pretty new to the whole podcasting thing. And you see with a lot of podcasts, they, like, have headphones on, and they listen to themselves as they record so they can, like, see what their levels are at and everything else. And I have everything to do that, but it's never figured it out. And then finally, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure out how we can monitor ourselves. And I was like, Dane, I think I got it done. And bring your headphones to when we record, and we can do this. And I did figure it out. It was super cool because, like, hey, I can hear myself. I can hear Dane. This will be great for the podcast. Yeah. But Dane brought in the wrong pair of headphones.
Did I bring in the wrong pair, or did you refuse to be an Apple carrier?
I guess I should have realized, well, nowadays it's a little different. He brought in a pair of wired headphones, which when you think wired headphones, I feel like most people would think like that little, like, super small, like, round plug that you just put into a device. It's been the standard for, I don't know, 20,
decades.
30, 40 years. And he brought in a pair of Apple earpods that had the stinking lightning port that, like, you plug it in. I'm like, this does not help us. We can't use this on our device. So this is our last week, hopefully, of not doing that. Assuming that Dane gets a pair of headphones, or I'm able to bring a backup pair or something.
Or both.
But Christmas is coming up, so maybe he'll ask for a pair for Christmas that are wired. I don't know. Shout out
it's
to
18th. That's kind of late to ask for something.
I mean, we could see. But that could be interesting. Hopefully, it'll help some of this recording in the future, and I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. So
you know what we need to draft next week for our 52nd episode?
Yeah.
Top goals for the next year of the podcast.
Top goal. That could be something. So we'll see.
For our 1 year anniversary of the pod.
For which episode of the podcast?
The 52nd one.
Wouldn't it make more sense because our 53rd will be dropping on January 1st. I feel like that would make more sense for goals for the new year. And then our other episode 52 will probably just be more Christmas based, and it'll probably be pretty short because you don't want to listen to a super long. I mean, you do. But a shorter podcast is more likely to be listened to on Christmas Day than not.
Well, here's the problem.
Also, when I look at the stats on Christmas Day and I see that we're getting plays, assuming we do, I'll be like, guys, it's Christmas. Thank you. That's the best
go
gift.
do something better with your life. No, it'll be cool because you're driving places too, in-laws to other Christmases. Because I have 3 Christmases or something like that.
You're with like all your family just in the car. You're like, hey, can I have the aux? And you put on this podcast. Like, what are you listening to? It's like, well, I traded out Joe Rogan for the Until Next Week podcast.
Way more entertaining.
This is cleaner. Mostly, except when Mike goes on, then it gets a little profane. But
that's true.
It's a good time.
But the only problem with doing the goals on New Year's Day is I only have one goal every year for my New Year's resolution.
To make a better haters list.
No, it's to be more toxic.
Oh, that is true.
The past 2 years, it has been that.
Yeah, you're going in the right direction for sure.
Man, love toxic people.
But I think that's a great. Honestly, you're talking about the toxicity, and I feel like people can be toxic in certain times of the year, especially this time of year when they're trying to say what their top Christmas songs are. That made no sense. But we decided last week we drafted top Christmas movies. This week we're going to draft top Christmas songs, and I feel there's way more choices for this one.
Yeah, like don't drop that dun.
Hey.
I promise this is 100% all Christmas songs that I'm picking.
Okay. But yeah, this will be interesting. I think this will be a much closer, I guess, when you vote on it. The results will probably be closer together, unless if Dane goes off the rails like usual.
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
I'm not a contrarian.
But last week I picked first when I had a 1 or 2 behind my back. I'm going to do the same thing this week. I promise I will not change it. And you're going to pick 1 or 2.
1.
You got it.
Yeah, I did.
I thought I might be able to trick you, keeping 1 both times.
I'm too smartest.
Smartest. Yep.
I know my words.
But yeah, you can go with your number 1 overall pick whenever you are ready.
I really don't know where to go with. I guess it's like
you're like, I want to go first. Like, I mean, you don't have to go first.
I am going first.
Okay.
So it's not like I have so many that I like.
Yeah.
And so the first one I'm going to go with is probably going to be It's All Coming Back to Me Now by Celine Dion.
Okay.
It's not really a Christmas song. It's about her and a man, or a man, if you will. And it's just like, I had COVID, and I remember this song hit me during COVID. I was like, baby, when you kiss me like this.
Wait, that's not a Christmas song.
And when you touch me like that.
Wait, this isn't Christmas.
There's bells in it, though.
Is it Jingle Bells?
It kind of sounds like Jingle Bells.
Okay, if you have that, then it makes any song a Christmas song.
Exactly, and it's so great. And I'm just like, it gets the people going, is what it is.
Yeah.
And all the other Christmas songs don't get me going. Silent Night does not get me pumped up.
Yeah. They don't give you that thun-thun. Hey.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, shout out to Celine Dion.
You took my first pick.
Obviously.
So that kind of stinks. So for my next 2 picks, I'm going to go, again, with like all these songs, there's so many different variations, but you're picking the song as a whole and then maybe get some shout outs.
Kind of.
But Little Drummer Boy. Slaps, especially for King and Country. They're like a Christian band, and they put on like some of the best concerts I've ever been to. But they have a version of the Little Drummer Boy that is so incredibly intense, and they go nuts. And like it's such a good song that during their normal not Christmas, like normal music tours, they play this song, a Christmas song, because it hits so hard, especially live.
Slappity.
Yeah, so that's just amazing. I love it each time I hear it. But then also like Drummer Boy by Justin Bieber. And
I was gonna say
Busta Rhymes.
Dang it!
Also
wait,
slaps.
Busta Rhymes and Justin Bieber.
Yeah, they're both on it. Yeah,
dang it.
That one also like hits. I'm like, let's go.
No wonder I haven't heard that one.
But yeah, that would be my number 1 overall pick. Drummer Boy. Well, actually, his is technically just Drummer Boy. Mine's Little Drummer Boy, but I'm counting them all as the same thing.
Drummer Boy.
Yeah. Bum ba da bum ba dum ba dum bum. But yeah, those songs slap. I think it's hard to go any differently for a number 2 overall pick. And honestly, a lot of people would pick this as number 1. But All I Want for Christmas Is You, Dane. Actually, it's not. That's not the whole song. It's All I Want for Christmas Is You. The Dane part is not in it.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. But Mariah Carey, she slaps. She slaps on that song.
It would be better if it wasn't burnt into the ground.
But at the same time, it's burnt into the ground, yes. But it's still, it hits.
It's good. And I love the memes of like every December 1st or like November
1st, she's thawing out. Or she's thawing out beforehand.
She emerges from the lake.
Yeah.
Only to return again.
The lake?
I don't know. Somebody did a Loch Ness Monster.
I feel like that'd be different. I guess that is weird because, she's thawing out, but the ice wouldn't be thawing out from the lake where she can get out.
Depends.
I don't know.
Most lakes don't freeze, I would imagine. Some do, but most probably don't.
Okay.
because they're too big or they're too Southern.
Yeah, but yeah, that song always slaps. I know whenever I go to like parties or like if there's like a wedding around Christmas, that song is oftentimes played.
It's always played.
It slaps.
It's not the worst. There's some that are awful, but
yeah, there's some that really just aren't that great. But that one is one that is solid.
Yeah.
So what about your next 2 picks? What are you thinking?
So for number 2, you've heard of the 12 Days of Christmas, right?
I have.
Well, that's not the one I'm picking.
Okay.
I'm picking the 12 Redneck Days of Christmas.
Oh my God.
by Jeff Foxworthy.
I thought it was Jeff Foxworthy.
Because the regular 12 Days of Christmas, super boring, super lame. 12 Redneck Days of Christmas.
Okay. I have one argument against that is Straight No Chaser. They're like the a cappella band.
Okay.
And they do 12 Days of Christmas, and it's kind of nuts and all over the place, and it's very good. But
probably
then,
sucks.
if you're just doing like a normal, like the 12 Days of Christmas, that's not
that one's lame.
Great. But if you have like some fun variations, like 12 Redneck Days, it can slap.
Yeah. 9 years probation. Yeah. Or it's a 12-pack of Bud, 11 wrestling tickets.
Ooh, that's controversial nowadays.
11 wrestling tickets, 10 of Copenhagen, 9.
You know them all.
9 years probation, 8 table dancers, 7 packs of Redmond, 6 cans of Spam, 5 flannel shirts, 4 Big Mud tires, 3 shotgun shells, 2 hunting dogs, and some parts to a Mustang GT.
You know that's not just a random pick when you know the 12 days.
Yeah, I know the 12 because
you're wearing a camo hat right now, so I mean you're embracing the redneck.
Close your ears, people, because my hat says "Run the ball."
Shout out! Hey, that's for you, Michael. You got your bleep. You love those bleeps.
That was for you, Mike McCarthy. Run the ball! Dang it! Oh man, I'm
man,
getting angry again. I need to go on to my next pick.
Okay, what's your number 3 overall pick?
My number 3 favorite Christmas song of all time is called "'Tis the Season" by No Genre and Jacques Beats.
Okay, yeah.
This is not a Christmas song because Bobby doesn't celebrate Christmas. Yeah.
"'Tis the season" with
Whoa! Whoa!
You gotta bleep out that last part.
Wow, that is not politically correct.
Are you able to bleep that word out?
I'll figure out how I want to do that.
Well,
I'll get back to it.
So if he has to bleep out the whole song, he said the bad word.
No,
in it.
yeah. He said a bad word. Yeah, that's all you got to know.
Yeah. But so
to get those Christmas tunes going to Christmas Eve service, playing that, rolling up, like whoa.
So years ago, I got so bored with Christmas music that I started looking up Christmas trap music.
Christmas trap slaps.
It's so good. And then I found that song and I was like, hey,
spoiler
alert,
whoa,
Santa gets shot in the end.
Oh. Wow, that's some fun stuff right there.
So every year when my stepmom's like, Dane, can you put on some Christmas music? Yeah, I got you, mother.
Oh, put on that song, just like I used to listen to in the olden days. Like, whoa, Mom. That's rough. That's rough.
She's like, no, there's kids here, Dane. Okay, they probably hear worse in public school.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that is rough, but I'm glad it's your 3rd pick, I guess.
"'Tis the Season" by No Genre and Jacques Beats.
Okay, well, I'll go to my final 2 picks. I could have gone on a different route here, but I decided to go with, for my number 3 pick, "What Christmas Means to Me" by Stevie Wonder.
Ooh.
That one, especially in the movie Elf that we talked about, like whenever that song is played, like when Elf, Buddy, and like his, I guess, technical like half brother or whatever are like finally becoming friends again and know each other, and they're like in the department stores like jumping on like the couches or the mattresses and everything.
Right.
And they're playing that song in the background. I'm like, okay, that is like, it's giving me chills right now. Like it's such a good song, and it's like fun and just like so much embraces like the Christmas season.
Buddy the Elf and Step Brothers are the same movie, just one seasonal.
Okay, Will Ferrell.
Exactly.
So that'll be my number 3 overall pick. I didn't know. I think I know which one I'll go for my number 4. I'm gonna go with a Michael Bublé song, which again, this could be for like anybody, but Michael Bublé is arguably one of the greatest Christmas artists of all time.
I disagree.
Well, you can.
I think Jacques Beats is.
Okay. I'm gonna go with "Santa Claus Is Coming to Town." Really any version, but also Michael Bublé, because it's the first song on his Christmas album, and I feel like I've heard that one the most, and each time it hits, I'm like, it is Christmas season.
Yeah, from December 20th until the 26th.
You said before 21st, so we're getting you to make the season longer, which is great.
24th through the 25th.
Okay, stop. But yeah, just it's a classic song. Like it's in all the. is an old song, and that's again like a lot of Christmas songs in general are old, but they have different variations. I love honestly like all the variations, but especially the Michael Bublé version. So those are my third and fourth picks. What are you picking for your last pick, Dane?
Your picks are trash.
They are great. They are great.
So my last pick it feels like a tie, but it's really, I'll probably go with Christmas in the Hood.
Oh my gosh.
By Daz Diggler, kind of, and Deacon. I don't know who that is. I don't know.
Oh, but it's your favorite song. What was it called again? You said
Christmas in the Hood.
Christmas in the Hood.
Jangle, jangle. It's Christmas in the Hood.
Oh,
we're smoking mistletoe. We drinking nog. We feeling good. That's the hook to the song.
When your kids will have a great time growing up, like, what are these songs they're playing? Santa Claus is coming to town. That's not the classics. Christmas in the Hood and the 12 Rednecks Days. Those are complete like opposites. 12 Rednecks Days of Christmas and Christmas in the Hood.
My kids will have
all over
fun
the place.
Experience.
They will be confused.
So the other one that I almost chose is This Christmas by Chris Brown.
Okay.
Super easy.
That would have been a better pick.
Yeah, but that's so normal and lame. Being normal is boring.
I could have like a tons of songs here, but I'm just going to go with one, and it's Shake Up Christmas by Train.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a good, I feel like they always play it with like Coca-Cola Christmas commercials also, and I'm like, that's cool.
That was
that's
actually
nice.
the first Christmas song that I remember being like, hey, I actually like that.
Yeah, it's like a newer one, obviously, and Train is just a good band in general, but that's a solid one. I'll go one other one that it kind of brings back a lot of memories that they play all the time is Last Christmas by Wham.
You mean Taylor Swift?
Well, yeah, they both have ones, but I know the Wham one especially because like growing up going to like lots of like swim meets with my dad, especially like would usually have like one meet in like December and maybe one like in November, so we'd always listen to like Christmas radio when we're driving to the meets. And Last Christmas just would always come on, and of course would have to give our bad karaoke of it just because it's like such high notes and everything else. But it brings back a lot of memories, so I do really appreciate that song.
Well, if you listen to the 12 Redneck Days of Christmas, Jeff Foxworthy would say that it ain't Christmas unless you go down to the penitentiary and visit your mama.
And that's what you're going to be doing this time around, right?
I mean, it depends. I mean, Thanksgiving, Christmas can get wild.
Yeah.
I'm a very controversial figure myself.
Obviously.
So who knows what might happen? My brother-in-law, when his first Christmas he came home, I was sitting there shirtless in a rocking chair with a shotgun when he got there. Nobody was harmed. I didn't actually point at anybody.
But you were playing the 12 Redneck Days of Christmas, and he got a little worried.
Man, I also had a handlebar mustache then. It was great.
The memories.
I have a picture of it. It's really good.
Well, and then also, speaking of picture, you sent us that other picture like the other day to like some of the people. We made like a random like text group chat of people who've been on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And then you sent us a picture of you with this like, didn't even look real. It looked like an AI generated photo with like
my hair?
You with like a massive flow. Like it looked like something like Elvis Presley would have been rocking, but with red hair.
I was 19 then.
That was crazy.
Yeah, the sides were shaved, but so much volume to that hair.
Your hair was, it looked like you could have been a hairstylist or something. Like you were going nuts with that. Yeah.
I'm bringing it back.
You should. But just to recap, so our top Christmas songs, mine were Little Drummer Boy, All I Want for Christmas Is You, What Christmas Means to Me, and then Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And going on to Dane's picks, he had All Coming Back to Me Now, 12 Redneck Days of Christmas, 'Tis the Season, and Christmas in the Hood. All the Christmas classics is what we're about here. So again, vote in our Spotify poll who you think had the better picks.
Man.
I feel like I know who will have the better picks, but some of y'all can be crazy.
At youth group, I'm not allowed to play music.
I wonder why. Especially when I had to bleep out part of that one of your songs.
I'm sorry that Jacques beat felt
use a very inappropriate word, which is why we bleeped it, and we're not going to discuss it any further. So if you want to look it up, I guess do it in the privacy of your own home.
This Christmas.
Yeah. But yeah, this is gonna be a quicker episode, so we're just gonna jump into sponsors of the week. Jesus, I mean, it tis the season. It is Christmas season, not the season that Jesus was born, but the Jesus
holiday.
Or the season that we celebrate him. So there's no other reason. There's no reason we shouldn't have him number one right now, just like every other week.
Yeah.
So what is a good verse of the week that you're thinking because of this?
Yeah, since it's Christmas time, raise your hand if you're listening to this right now.
Okay, I'm listening. My hand's up. My hand's up, Dane.
No, raise your hand if you think I'm going to pick a Christmas verse. Verse.
Well, right before we did this, I was like, hey, pick a Christmas verse.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought you were going to do.
No.
Okay.
This pagan holiday.
Whoa.
So I chose one of my favorite verses, honestly. It's been the background on my phone for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's Psalm 130, the entirety of it, which it's only 9 verses.
Okay.
8 verses. So it says, out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. O Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my pleas for mercy. If you, O Lord, should mark iniquities, O Lord, who could stand? But with you there is forgiveness, that you may be feared. I wait for the Lord, my soul awaits, and in his word I hope.
Yeah.
My soul waits for the Lord more than watchmen for the morning, more than watchmen for the morning. O Israel, hope in the Lord, for with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him is plentiful redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all his iniquities.
That's clean.
It's so, like, there's so much in this.
Yeah.
Like, that you can just hit on. It's like, first off, the Lord is the only one who can blot out any of your transgressions or iniquities. Because it's like, and because it literally, the next verse is, O Lord, or if you, O Lord, should mark iniquities. So if he kept record of right and wrong, and then the next verse is, O Lord, who could stand? Literally nobody.
Yeah.
David, murderer, adulterer.
Yeah.
And like Samson, murderer again, adulterer again.
Hey, don't call me out.
And you're not Samson. Dang it.
I'm Sanderson.
Dang it. But then it goes on and it says, my soul waits for the Lord. And I'm just like, man, under the waterfall of grace, like you're waiting for that. And it's like a lot. And it's more than watchmen for the morning. So you picture watchmen like back in these biblical times.
Yeah.
Like they get off shift and the night was so feared because you couldn't see or do anything. And these watchmen are over like this entire town, this entire city, and they're like the welfare of these people are in their hands. And so when the morning comes, they're literally like at peace. And so waiting for the Lord is like more than watchmen for the morning. You're waiting for that like record of peace.
Yeah.
And then just for with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him is plentiful for redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all his iniquities. So not only will he blot out like your iniquities through the blood of Jesus, but also he's going to redeem it, which means he's going to make it good, all the things that like are perhaps negatives in your past, because he's using your like transgressions and your downfalls as something to write your story.
Yeah.
And so, man, big shout out to Jesus.
Yeah, shout out. Okay, I guess it's okay you picked those verses, even though they weren't directly related to Christmas, but I mean, the whole thing in a way is a Christmas story.
Jesus is love. Love is found in Christmas sometimes.
Yes, there we go. So shout out Psalm 130, a good one. Another good one is Jake Trust and Art, because he's always back. I don't know if we'll ever stop doing sponsors, and if we'll just, I guess he's just always going to be a sponsor at this point, unless he just does something crazy.
Yeah.
But Jake Trust and Art, I saw last week. So you guys we've talked about before how you do like a baseball.
I've been preparing a lot for this baseball. It's called Stratomatic. It's basically a card game, but it's like, think of like Monopoly. It's a little like, there's a little strategery to it.
Yeah.
Or like there can be a good amount if you think about it.
And I know, so he tried to recruit me to it, and I want to do it sometime in the future, but currently it's not the best time for me just because I'm trying to figure out how to not be as busy, even though it does sound fun. But I am still in like the Facebook group, so I see him making up all these like draft packets for all you guys, and seeing you guys like get like what pick in the draft you're going to have and everything else.
Dane got number 1.
I mean, you had a lower one. You're like, oh really? You're gonna give me the low pick? I got cancer.
Well, so we determined it by rolling a 20-sided dice or die, and I literally rolled a 20. And we were doing the highest roll, that's best pick.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I didn't fake it. It was great. And they didn't just give it to me. Like it was caught all in video.
You earned it.
I did earn it.
Yeah.
And that's the only part that I have that's like, I love trading for baseball players and like making a team and stuff. But the only part that I hate is like the randomness of just rolling dice.
Yeah.
And I hate that about all board games. Though.
Yeah.
So it's like, take what you can.
And like, I think there is some strategy because you can like trade players or pick players, and then it's into the dice.
Yeah.
But I do love when there's more strategy and less luck involved.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And there's like, the better the player, the more like positive outcomes on their card there is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works, basically.
Well, that sounds fun. And I hope one of these days I can join y'all. Just, this isn't the right season for me yet.
I don't believe you.
But one of these days, it could happen. But yeah, it is awesome that he puts a lot of that together, and it looks like he does most of the work to get everybody situated for it.
He does a lot of work on it, honestly. Created a whole website.
Yeah. And
so it's like
it's crazy. Like, so I like how I see like all that, which does get me like more inclined, like, hey, I need to check this out a little bit.
Jake doesn't just do art. He does like graphic design and all that stuff too.
Well, and then also he's starting like a vlog or something, because he was like, hey, Samuel, I will buy that mic from you if you are thinking of getting rid of it still. And I'm like, I was considering it, but I don't look to upgrade it anytime soon. So then he bought a separate mic, and he's doing like his own thing now, which is pretty sweet.
A vlog.
Yeah, so check that out. I don't know the link to it, but look for it. You might find it. And then finally, our third sponsor. I think this one maybe is
he's a dirty scoundrel.
He's been a hater for you. I don't know if he's been a sponsor, but Jake Pridgeon. I almost said Jake Pridgeon art, but that's not the case. Right before we recorded this episode, he called in and he was like, Dane, hey, we got to figure out some stuff. And then we're like, hey, we're about to record the podcast. You got any ideas for us? And he threw out some. Not all of them are great, but the one we went with was, he was like, fake or real Christmas trees. Yeah. And we're like, okay, we'll throw that in the intro. So shout out to Jake for giving us that idea. He's a solid dude.
Yeah, if you ever need an industrial refrigeration part, he works for this place called Keep Supply.
Yep.
That they do industrial refrigeration parts. So
if you
should go through Jake for that.
And most likely it's probably only the people like in Springfield, Missouri or surrounding areas that probably will need that.
They do it, or like they do it for all over the country.
Okay, well then if you need that, reach out and tell them that we sent you, and use the code Until Next Week Podcast. It probably won't do anything. Actually, I guarantee it won't do anything, but it will be confusing because like, wait, guys, what is this code? Yeah. And then the people at Keep Supply will start listening to the podcast, and we'll only grow from there.
Maybe there'll be a sponsor, an actual sponsor.
Hey, that would be cool.
That'd be
cool.
Crazy.
So yeah, I think that's about it for the week. This has been a somewhat quicker one, not really, but yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you're enjoying this Christmas season. For those who are celebrating early, December 18th,
way early,
yeah, so early. And then just as always, like the plugs, like follow us on Instagram, send us those 5-star reviews on Spotify or Apple Podcast, talk about us with your friends. And then just do whatever, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to slander us, you can find Samuelson at
Samuelson. That's what it is. It's really easy. But yeah, I think it's been a good episode. Got any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I want a burrito.
Okay, well that's a good note. So this has been episode 51 of the Until Next Week podcast.
I love you, everybody.